Good morning and welcome to my little victory garden where I'm trying to grow food for my multi-generational family of 5 in my small backyard garden. This morning's a little hectic. We've got a lot going on today, but I thought I'd give you a quick backyard tour. I'm really shocked at how much that melon has grown over the tunnel trellis here in just a week's time. I'm not sure if you remember, it was barely over the shade cloth last week, and now it is all the way nearly down to the end of it. And I think that's supposed to be a 10 by 20 shade cloth. I'm not sure if that's quite right, but yeah. Things are starting to look a little rough at this point in the year. Pests and disease starting to happen. I need to look in to see what's going on with the hydrangea. It might just need water. Look at the size of that Crenshaw melon. That thing is massive. That's the size of a watermelon. I'm hoping it will ripen soon. But yeah, my tomatoes are starting to have a lot of yellow leaves. I need to get those cut off. Hopefully I'll have time this morning before we head out. So there's some more of those little baby Crenshaw melons that I'm not sure have been fertilized yet. I've got, it's nice when they're started, but that one had been fertilized. I was pretty sure as big as it got, and the net on it, and it's just kind of started to shrivel up. I'm assuming because there's already so many melons on these already. But so that one's huge. And there's a Hill's Best cantaloupe back there. And another one right there. So really looking forward to those. I am starting to see a few tomatoes ripen. I've harvested a handful. And we've got several sugar baby watermelons here. We lost the one there. It fell off before it was quite ripe. But we have one back there. It's getting huge. Got one down there. Here's this one. I think it's getting closer to ready. The little tendrils brown there, but I'm not seeing any signs that the stem is starting to brown a little bit. And then we have this one up here, and that one forming there. And there was another one I saw, that I think might be pollinated there. So yay. I think this might be the first time I don't harvest a cucumber. I've been getting one or two a day. I mean, it looks like I'll have one tomorrow. It's just a little bit bigger than that. The squashes, I think they're about done. Let's see if I've got any. But yeah, I've been seeing so many squash bugs. I'm still trying to take eggs off as I see them, but I'm kind of just tired of dealing with the squash bugs. And I've gotten over 5 pounds of squash at this point, which is more than I'd expected. But it looks like I'm going to harvest a couple of patty pans this morning. And I think I've got a few yellow squash in here to harvest this morning too. I had one I found on there that was black yesterday. It was just disgusting. Like I said, the tomatoes are starting to look a little rough. These cherry tomatoes really haven't produced anything, this Rosenstraub, and they've got this, I'm not sure what that is. You don't know what that is? It's on the eggplant too. But this thing's put on flowers. It's never really ripened. Usually, cherry tomatoes are like the first things I get of my tomatoes. Not so much this year. Like I said, they just have looked rough. My eggplants have, despite looking rough, have been producing quite well. My peppers have been doing pretty well this year. Actually, this has been the best year I've had for bell peppers. Usually I get like one per ton. These golden honey pippin peppers, or whatever they're called, have put on a bunch of fruit and are starting to turn yellow now. So I've harvested one leek. That thing is so good. And yesterday, in this bed, so this is the one that used to have like onions and garlic and lettuce. So I added some granular fertilizer and some bone meal to this and raked it in and then covered it back up with the mulch. I'm soon hoping to start my fall potatoes and corn in this. And then here is my sweet potatoes, corn, and long beans. The long beans have had a serious problem with aphids, and I don't have a hose long enough to get down here and just spray them off, which has been kind of frustrating. But they are producing beans. As you can see, it looks like I need to harvest some this morning. I finally got the cable up for my grape trellis this week. And that red flame I didn't realize how big it had gotten until I started trying to trellis it up. But yeah, that one's grown quite vigorously. And this cowart muscadine is like my next vigorous in growth. The asparagus I planted down here is starting to showing signs of life, so I'm pretty excited about that. And about 3 years I might have some asparagus to eat again. I cut back that oregano, and I have a whole bunch of it dry. Do you see all those ants? I don't know why I have such a problem with ants in this yard. I think it's the whole neighborhood has complained of ants. But yeah, there's just massive amount of ants. It's like the whole neighborhood's one giant ant colony. But yeah, to give you an idea how bad those aphids are, look at that. That is just disgusting. Oh. I need to deadhead this cosmos. I feel like right now I'm going through all the things I just needed fixed this morning. This artichoke has got some pretty vigorous growth on it. And my white zinnia finally bloomed. I was gifted these seeds from someone in the community, and this is the only one that sprouted. But I've been looking at these white polar bear zinnias for a while and considering getting them, and it is beautiful. I am so happy to have it. I'm going to cut that thing off and hope that it puts on more. And then of course we have the blackberries. This one is the Triple Crown. It's supposed to produce in August. And this is my Chester. It's supposed to produce in July. I didn't expect any this year because I just put them in and I didn't think any of them were Primacanes. But that Triple Crown putting on flowers was kind of a surprise. And then we have Arapaho and Arapaho on these. This Arapaho was last year's planting, so I had some blackberries that just didn't get harvested. Oopsie. And I'm not sure if you remember, I had that one cane get damaged in the windstorm, and I cut it off, and then the one behind it kind of bushed out nicely. So this is the other side of that squash bed, and we've got the leeks here, and it's over here we've got a raspberry, and then I've got an ever-bearing strawberry of some sort. They really don't give the exact variety when you buy those botany plants at the big box stores. But it is putting on runners. back there. I need to move those so they're not behind the raspberry, because I don't want to be reaching through all those thorns to get to raspberries. My dahlia has been completely smothered by all the zinnias, and look at all those. I mean, that is nice tall plants. I'm not sure if you can see. There's my little bench I sit on when I harvest my beans. The beans are still doing really well. I've lost like 3 or 4 plants because they've like found them cut off at the base. I'm not sure if I've just been rough harvesting or if they've got cutworms in there, but it's still enough beans to keep me busy harvesting every morning, which I still need to do this morning. And my Canterbury bells are getting near the end of their season. I'm really kind of surprised they're still thriving in this heat. Although that one sunflower is not looking good. I don't know what's wrong with that. And there's my Texas tarragon. And my sunflowers that all seem to want to face my neighbor. Okay, yes, I know it's morning right now. It should be facing its area, but they don't face the other way in the afternoon. And that one's looking at a fence. They're just looking at a fence. Let's see, what else do we have going here? You can see the other side of those watermelons. Aren't those gorgeous? And then there's my peanuts. I've only seen one flower on them. They also look like they're struggling. I'm not sure this was the best option for growing them, but it was an experiment this year. We will see. Some more tomatoes that are looking really rough. I really need to look up and see what that is that's causing that. And there's like little webby stuff in there. But the Archangel Angelina is doing really well. Looks like I've got a little pickling cucumber down in there. See it? I'm thinking about planting another one of these, putting a seed out in a container and see if I can get some more before the end of the year. This is my healthiest tomato plant. I think it's one of the paste tomatoes. I started it from suckers and it's just done very well there. I need to get the grass out of that pot and do something else with it. And then we have my cayenne peppers, and they've not really thrived in these bags either. I'm wondering if it's because I put wood mulch in the bottom of them, but I've been fertilizing them. This is the banana pepper. It had been doing well, but it's looking kind of sad now. I am watering them about every other day. Maybe I need to bump up to every day as hot as it's getting. And this is our bonfire peach. Let's see, over here on the other side, my wife's hibiscus is all, I guess most of the stuff in the pots is kind of struggling right now. The basil's been very happy. I harvested a whole bunch off of it Thursday and made a big batch of pesto. We used some for dinner and the rest got frozen. Those gumbo onions are just sad. For something they claim came out of southern Louisiana, they have not handled the heat well at all. And then my Egyptian walking onions are tons of little babies off those. See more of those yellow leaves on those tomatoes over here. I've harvested a few okra, and this one finally bloomed yesterday. Like I said, I planted these all at kind of different times as I pulled up the onions that were here. But these are some more of the okra. Of course, this is the bed I fertilized yesterday. And it was hot and was miserable doing it, but I really only spent 20 minutes at it. I just raked all the mulch to one side, put down some granular fertilizer and bone meal, raked it in, and then raked all the mulch over to the other side and did the same thing, and then did my best to even out the mulch. So now instead of one side being straw and one side being wood chips. It's kind of a mix throughout the whole thing. So we got the Swiss chard there. Oh, look at all those chamomiles that I did not harvest. Oopsie. But look at this Tabasco. It is just going crazy. I really do need to make a pepper sauce. Not like the red Tabasco sauce, but the little green peppers in vinegar version. My papa always liked that for his greens. And then there's another Tabasco. And then that red sorrel hibiscus. And I know I say this every week, but I did not give that thing enough space. I had no clue how big it actually got. It's going somewhere else next year. It might even go in the front yard next year. This artichoke is not doing as well, probably because it's not getting enough sun. I got lavender and the roses. I cut off a whole bunch of blooms recently and dried the petals for tea. My sage. More Swiss chard. That's the spicy oregano. The white stuff is First Saturday lime. I've scattered over here because, well, the squash bugs freaked me out, and I just felt like I need to start actually trying to deal with a pest situation. The rue. What do I do with rue? I mean, I know it's an herb, but I've not really found a good use for it. My wife picked it up. It was pretty. And then it was, oh, it's a herb. I'll put it in the herb bed. And yeah, I think I need to dig that up and put it somewhere else. We have parsley, French thyme, and rosemary. I moved my mint pots over here where the mint bed is because they look like they were struggling from all the heat. While in those pots, they are still getting watered. I'm really hoping that ginger one does well because, oh my gosh, I love that thing. And then we have the apple tree, and it's got lemon mint, lemon thyme, and a lemon balm under it. I'm hoping to next year get some lemon verbena to put where the zinnias are currently. And then of course I put in marigolds and Goffrinia, and the Goffrinia was started from seeds I saved from a plant last year. I hope it's not under some kind of copyright protection or anything. Oopsie. I have harvested a lot for just cut flowers. I'm probably going to start harvesting to dry for tea, because I do make a lot of tea from the stuff that I grow in my garden. I tried the butterfly peas, but I did not get a single one sprout after trying to plant those seeds repeatedly. Maybe I'll try a different supplier next year. My pots here are kind of struggling, except for the celosia and, well, the plumeria. That one's struggling. But I got the plumeria last week. I found them at H-E-B for $10. I got very excited. I know I tried to start one earlier and it just rotted, but these seem to actually be putting on some new growth since I planted them. I'm very concerned about the leaves on that. Anyone know what's going on with that? I'm going to have to search and see. I'm very concerned about that. And then we have this prickly pear, a spineless prickly pear, that my wife finally put in the ground. We need to trim up the grass around this area and mulch it better. But I had someone give me a pad of this when we were touring her garden, and it's been sitting in a pot for 10 years. And it had gotten pretty big, and then it started to die back. And as soon as it went in the ground, look at all that new growth. I had a plumber out here this past week, and I ended up giving him a pad off it because he mentioned his wife was into growing edibles the way I am. I'm not sure if I've ever talked about this pecan tree here by my driveway. It's I'm a little concerned about it. It's got these wounds on it. It looks like sap or something coming out of them. I'm afraid I might have to cut this thing down. Anyone know what that is? Or if there's some way I can treat it? Because I would really hate for this to fall on the house. And then the fig tree. Usually I'm getting figs, or at least last year I was getting figs about this time. My wife thinks that it was because it was a lot hotter last year than it's been this year. We've hit like the low 90s at this point, at least consistently. Ready. I've only watered it a couple of times since it stopped raining. Just look. All those green figs. I will be sad if they don't ripen. Okay, maybe it's a little too soon to start worrying about that. But like I said, by the 26th of last year, I'd started picking them regularly, and I haven't gotten a single one off this yet. But I probably shouldn't start worrying about it until we actually hit July, which is still a few more days away. But and something's eating it. It's not me. But that's it. That's our garden tour this week. I have my surprise coming today. I need to go get some potting soil for it. I'll show you that later. I guess I need to try to see what I can harvest before we go to a funeral, which is why I'm like in a black dress today. But thank you for watching. If you are enjoying seeing how the garden is growing, the good and the bad, and it seems to be a lot of bad today, please like and subscribe. Thank you. As you can see, I'm still getting a modest harvest every morning, as well as whatever I go out with herbs and things to harvest in the evening for dinner. But as of Saturday morning, we are at 154.4 pounds year to date. I'm pretty excited about that.